It was supposed to be an ordinary night, February 13, 2000, a quiet Sunday evening in Shelby, North Carolina. Inside a small home on Oakrest Drive, a 9-year-old girl named Asha Degree went to bed, just like she always did. She shared a room with her brother. Her backpack was tucked away. Her clothes were folded. There was no sign that anything was wrong. But by morning, Asha Degree would be gone. No note, no struggle, no explanation. What makes this night terrifying isn't just that Asha disappeared. It's how she disappeared. Sometime after midnight, during a violent storm with heavy rain, strong winds, and the power going out across the neighborhood, Asha quietly got out of bed. She didn't wake her brother. She didn't wake her parents. She took her backpack and walked out into the darkness. Outside, the temperature was cold. The roads were empty. The rain soaked everything in sight. This was not a night for a child to be outside, especially alone. And yet, Asha left willingly. That single fact has haunted investigators for over 2 decades because Asha Degree did not run away before. She was not known to sneak out. She was not rebellious. She was afraid of the dark. And still, she walked straight into it. Hours later, as dawn broke, her parents discovered she was missing. Panic set in immediately. Police were called. Neighbors searched. The entire town mobilized within hours. But the most chilling realization came later. Multiple witnesses would eventually tell investigators something unbelievable. They had seen a small girl walking alone along Highway 8 in the rain before sunrise. One driver even turned his car around because what he was seeing didn't make sense. A child, alone, in a storm. And then she vanished. No screams were heard. No evidence was left behind. No clear answers ever emerged. This was not just a disappearance. This was a mystery that defied logic from the very first moment. And as we move deeper into this case, one question will follow every detail. Why would a 9-year-old girl leave her home in the middle of the night and never return? To understand why Asha's disappearance makes no sense, you first have to understand who she was. Asha Degree was 9 years old. She lived with her parents, Harold and Aquila Degree, and her older brother in a quiet, close-knit neighborhood in Shelby, North Carolina. By every account, Asha was a happy child. She loved school. She was polite, well-mannered, and deeply connected to her family. Teachers described her as shy but responsible. At home, she followed rules. She listened. She didn't cause trouble. This is important because children who run away usually show signs beforehand. Asha didn't. She didn't argue with her parents. She didn't talk about wanting to leave. She didn't have secret plans or rebellious behavior. In fact, she was afraid of many things. Asha was scared of the dark. She was scared of dogs. She was scared of storms. And yet, the night she disappeared was filled with all three. Just 2 days earlier, Asha had attended a sleepover with family. Even there, she had trouble sleeping away from home. She wanted to be near her parents. She wanted to feel safe. So investigators were left with a disturbing contradiction. A child who feared the dark somehow walked into it alone. Her parents were adamant about one thing. Asha would never leave home voluntarily. She didn't pack clothes for running away. She didn't take toys or money. She didn't even wear a coat, but she did take her backpack. And that detail will become one of the most haunting elements of the case, because it suggests intent, not panic, not fear, but purpose. What could motivate a 9-year-old to quietly leave her home in the middle of the night during a storm without waking anyone? Investigators would later consider possibilities that are deeply unsettling. Was she planning to meet someone? Did someone convince her to leave? Was she told something that made sense only to a child? These questions will grow darker with every new detail uncovered. Because the more police learned about Asha, the less her disappearance made sense. And soon, the focus would shift to the night itself, the storm, the power outage, and the exact moment everything changed. February 13, 2000 was not an ordinary night. A powerful storm moved across Shelby, North Carolina. Heavy rain poured down. Strong winds rattled homes. The power went out across parts of the neighborhood. Darkness settled in early. Inside the Degree home, the family tried to sleep through the storm. Asha and her brother were in their shared bedroom. Everything appeared normal. But sometime after midnight, something changed. Investigators believe Asha woke up while the storm was still raging. Rain pounded the ground. The wind howled outside. The kind of night that makes even adults uneasy. Yet somehow, Asha quietly got dressed. She didn't turn on lights. She didn't wake her brother. She didn't make a sound. In a house filled with darkness, she moved with intention. That alone is chilling. Because storms are often the one thing children fear most. The timing makes this even stranger. This was Valentine's Day weekend, a school night, with no reason to leave. No confirmed event, no known plan. And yet, Asha chose this night. At approximately 2:30 a.m., a motorist traveling along Highway 18 would later report seeing something that didn't belong there. A small figure walking alone on the side of the highway. At first, the driver thought it must be an adult. But as the car drew closer, the truth became clear. It was a child. The rain was heavy. Visibility was poor. The driver slowed down, confused by what he was seeing. A young girl, walking alone in the storm. The driver turned around, wanting to help. But when he came back, the child was gone, vanished into the darkness. Another witness would later report a similar sighting. Again, a small figure on the road. Again, alone. Again, disappearing before anyone could intervene. These sightings would become some of the most disturbing details in the entire case, because they confirmed something no one wanted to believe. Asha Degree had made it out of her house. She had reached the highway, and she was walking away, not toward home. The storm continued. The night swallowed everything. And somewhere between the rain, the darkness, and the empty road, Asha Degree disappeared. By now, investigators were facing a terrifying truth. Asha Degree didn't disappear immediately. She walked, alone, in the rain, along Highway 18. This wasn't a short walk. The stretch of road where witnesses reported seeing her was nearly a mile from her home, with no sidewalks, no streetlights, and cars passing at high speeds. For a 9-year-old child, this was dangerous in every possible way. And yet, Asha kept going. Witnesses described her walking south, carrying a backpack, wearing light clothing completely unsuited for the weather. When one driver tried to approach her and offer help, the child did something no one expected. She ran. She darted off the road and disappeared into the woods. That reaction changed everything. Because children who are lost usually seek help. They don't flee from it. So why did Asha run? Was she afraid of strangers? Was she following instructions given to her? Or was she trying to avoid being seen at all? Investigators began mapping her route, trying to understand her direction and purpose. But no matter how they plotted it, nothing made sense. She wasn't heading toward a friend's house. She wasn't heading toward school. She wasn't heading toward any known destination, which raised a deeply unsettling possibility. What if Asha believed she was supposed to be somewhere? Someone could have told her to leave quietly. Someone could have convinced her it was safe. Someone could have promised her something that only a child would believe. There was no evidence of a struggle on the road. No sign she was chased. No proof she was forced. Everything pointed to a choice. And that choice haunted investigators. Because if Asha Degree left on her own, then the danger wasn't random. It was planned. And as the search expanded beyond the highway and into the surrounding woods, investigators would stumble upon something that made the case even darker. Something small. Something forgotten. Something that didn't belong there. As daylight broke over Shelby, the search for Asha Degree intensified. Police officers, volunteers, neighbors, everyone was looking. Roads were searched. Fields were checked. The area around Highway 18 became the center of attention. And then, something was found. Along the stretch of road where witnesses last reported seeing Asha, searchers discovered personal items. Small items, candy wrappers, a pencil, markers. They were scattered along the roadside, subtle, easy to miss, but deeply unsettling. Because they confirmed what no one wanted to believe. Asha had been there. These weren't random pieces of trash. They matched items Asha was known to carry. Objects a child might drop without realizing it, especially in the dark, in the rain. Investigators followed the trail carefully, hoping it would lead them to her. But instead, it led them somewhere far more disturbing. Nearly a year later, construction workers made a discovery miles away, buried near a different stretch of road. A backpack, Asha's backpack. It had been wrapped in plastic and deliberately concealed. Inside were personal belongings, including items that did not belong to her. Clothing from another child, books she didn't own, objects that made no sense in the context of a runaway. This discovery shattered every remaining assumption. Asha had not simply wandered off. Someone had handled her belongings. Someone had gone to great lengths to hide evidence. And suddenly, the mystery shifted. This was no longer about a child lost in the night. It was about a child who encountered someone, or something that changed everything. The question investigators now faced was terrifying. Who had Asha met? And why had they taken her backpack so far away? As investigators reviewed every detail again and again, one element of the case refused to fade: the eyewitness sightings. Multiple drivers came forward independently, each describing the same chilling image: a small child walking alone along Highway 18 in the early morning darkness. These were not vague tips. They were consistent, and they matched Asha's description. One witness described seeing a young girl walking south, wearing light-colored clothing and carrying a backpack. At first, the driver assumed it was an adult, until the headlights illuminated the truth. It was a child. Another driver slowed his vehicle, concerned. When he attempted to offer help, the girl suddenly ran off the road and into the woods. That moment would become one of the most disturbing details in the case. Why did she run? Investigators considered every possibility. Was Asha afraid of strangers? Had someone warned her never to talk to anyone else? Was she following instructions given earlier that night? Children who are lost usually seek help. Asha did the opposite. And that behavior suggested something far more complex than panic. Police reconstructed her last known path, calculating distances, timing, and visibility. Based on the sightings, Asha had been walking for at least an hour, possibly longer, in the rain, in total darkness. That meant she was determined. Not wandering, not confused, moving with purpose. But toward what? There were no homes nearby, no stores, no destinations that made sense. And after the final sighting, there was nothing. No footprints, no signs of a struggle, no trail leading deeper into the woods, just silence. These sightings remain the last confirmed moments of Asha Degree's journey. After that point, the case enters complete darkness. Not far from Highway 18, hidden beyond the trees and brush, stood an old equipment shed. It wasn't easy to find. You wouldn't stumble upon it by accident. And yet, investigators were drawn to the area as they expanded the search beyond the road. Inside the shed, they found something that immediately changed the tone of the case: candy wrappers, a pencil, a hair bow, items that matched what Asha was known to have with her the night she disappeared. The shed showed signs that someone, small in size, had been inside. This discovery was deeply unsettling because it meant Asha had left the road. She had entered the woods, and she had sought shelter. For a brief moment, investigators believed they were getting closer. Maybe Asha had taken cover from the storm. Maybe she was still nearby. Maybe she had survived the night. But as searches intensified around the shed, hope slowly faded. There were no footprints leading away, no signs of a struggle, no evidence of where she went next. The shed raised a terrifying possibility. Asha may not have been wandering aimlessly. She may have been waiting for someone she trusted, or someone she believed she could trust. Because children don't choose isolated places unless they think they are safe. And that idea changed everything. If Asha wasn't alone that night, then her disappearance wasn't random. It was orchestrated. The shed became a silent witness to the last place Asha may have been alive. And whatever happened next, happened somewhere no one has ever found. As years passed with no answers, investigators were forced to confront a difficult reality. There were only theories left, and none of them fully explained what happened to Asha Degree. The first theory was the simplest, that Asha ran away, but it never fit. She was 9 years old. She was afraid of the dark. She left without money, without warm clothes, without a clear destination. Runaways usually plan. Asha did not. The second theory suggested an accident, that perhaps Asha wandered into the woods, became lost, and succumbed to the elements. But extensive searches turned up nothing. No remains, no clothing, no trace. And the buried backpack destroyed that possibility. Someone had wrapped it carefully in plastic. Someone had hidden it miles away. Accidents don't do that. Then came the most disturbing theory, that Asha was lured, that someone spoke to her before that night, gained her trust, promised her something, a gift, an adventure, a secret, something that made sense only to a child. This theory explained why she left quietly, why she carried a backpack, why she walked with purpose, why she ran from drivers but entered the woods willingly. But even this theory had gaps. No confirmed suspect, no recorded communication, no clear proof. Each explanation answered one question and raised 5 more. And so the case remained suspended between possibilities. None strong enough to close it, none weak enough to dismiss. For investigators, this was the most frustrating part. The evidence existed. The timeline existed. The sightings existed. But the final piece never surfaced. And as time moved on, hope began to fade. Until years later, when new clues emerged, clues that suggested the truth might still be out there waiting. Even decades after that fateful night, the disappearance of Asha Degree refused to fade from memory, and the case refused to close. New tips, sightings, and small pieces of evidence continued to emerge, keeping hope alive for investigators and her family alike. In 2004, nearly 4 years after Asha vanished, police received reports of a possible sighting miles away from Highway 18. A small girl had been seen walking along a rural road, alone, in a manner eerily similar to that stormy Valentine's night. Though the witness could not be certain it was Asha, the description matched too closely to ignore. Then came a chilling discovery. Her backpack, already a haunting symbol of her disappearance, was analyzed again using improved forensic methods. Investigators hoped modern technology could uncover DNA or other clues that were previously missed. Small fibers, traces of soil, and other subtle markers hinted at locations and movements that had never been thoroughly examined. Meanwhile, new witness interviews reopened old questions. Friends, neighbors, and even distant acquaintances were asked to recall any odd behavior leading up to that night. Unusual phone calls, interactions with strangers, or changes in Asha's demeanor. Each lead, no matter how small, was treated with care. One of the most haunting pieces of information came from a retired law enforcement officer, a tip about someone who had claimed to know where the girl went. The tipster refused to give full details publicly, but it prompted investigators to retrace several abandoned properties, sheds, and wooded areas along her last known route. Despite these developments, Asha remained missing. Her family never gave up, tirelessly working with authorities, media outlets, and the community. Each new clue added hope, but also deeper frustration. The puzzle was incomplete, the pieces scattered. And yet, one truth remained undeniable. Every new detail, every whispered tip, and every potential sighting proved that Asha Degree's story was not over. Someone, somewhere, held the missing pieces, and the answer might still be waiting to be discovered. Decades have passed since that stormy Valentine's night in 2000, yet the disappearance of Asha Degree continues to haunt the small town of Shelby, North Carolina, and the nation as a whole. Her story is more than a missing person case. It's a tale of a child who vanished without a trace, leaving family, friends, and an entire community searching for answers that may never come. Investigators, past and present, still pore over every detail. The eyewitness sightings along Highway 18, the mysterious shed in the woods, the backpack buried miles away, and the countless tips that arise each year. Each clue tells part of the story, but the full picture remains elusive. For Asha's family, the passage of time has been both unbearable and unrelenting. Each anniversary of her disappearance brings sorrow, reflection, and the reminder that their child's story has yet to reach closure. Yet they have never given up hope. Every tip, every new lead, every re-examination of evidence keeps their determination alive. The case also serves as a chilling reminder to the public. The world can change in an instant, and sometimes danger can be closer than it appears, even in a quiet neighborhood, even to a child who seems safe. While we may never know exactly what happened to Asha Degree, her story is a call to action, for vigilance, for awareness, and for empathy. It reminds us that every disappearance leaves a ripple, touching families, communities, and the course of countless lives. As we close this chapter, one truth remains. Asha Degree may still be out there, waiting for someone to finally find the missing pieces. And until that day comes, her story will continue to demand attention, reflection, and remembrance. Because some mysteries refuse to be forgotten. If you believe every story deserves to be remembered, subscribe to Unsolved USA for more true crime cases that demand answers.